everybody. Welcome to Garden for Cheap with your host, me, Rachel. Today I want to go over two things. I mentioned in my last video how we're switching how I'm switching the name to Gardening for Cheap to Garden for Cheap. It's just a small little change, but I was building a website, wasn't paying attention when I got my domain, and yeah, so instead of getting another one, I just changed everything to Garden for Cheap. So you should go check it out, gardenforcheap.com. It'll have a few of the videos that are on my YouTube channel, and then it'll have quite a few blog posts that give a little bit more detail on certain subjects that I don't really go into detail in the videos. But anyhow, let's move on to today's topic, Ollas. Some people pronounce it Ollas. Well, I say Ollas, it's tomato. Well, what is it? It's 4,000-year-old technology. If you live in a desert or in a state where there's a lot of water restrictions, like California is one of them, something to look into. A lot of people do drip irrigation and soaker hoses, and if you see my garden over my shoulder, when I designed it, I was looking for something to water it because you don't want to water from the top. It'll cause fungus and all kinds of problems because there's not the airflow that you have in a regular garden where everything's spaced out. In a square foot garden, you plant in 1 square feet. Each square foot is a plant, at least one plant. Some smaller things like garlic, onions, beets, you can get like 9 in there, and beans. But bigger plants like tomatoes, corn, peppers, you get 1 plant per square foot. Well, since everything's so close, it doesn't get the airflow, you don't want to water from the top like with a water sprinkler. You want to water at root or ground level. And I was looking into drip irrigation, soaker hoses, and that was a little bit more costly than I wanted to spend at the time, because I spent so much building the garden bed this year. I didn't want to really add any more to it. Hence the reason it's the size it is and the depth that it is. So I came across in my research Ollas. And what it is basically is a terracotta base or a pot that's buried up to the neck in the ground, and then you plant your plants next to it. It attaches its roots to the pot, and it will slowly draw out the water it needs. Now this is good for several reasons. 1, you don't overwater or underwater. 2, if you fill up the pots and have to leave town for a day or 2, your plants will still be okay. They'll still be getting the water they need. 3, because they're getting the water they need from the bottom and not the top layer, 1, it's less chance for weeds to grow up because the top of the soil is dry, and 2, fungus don't procreate. You know, it's hard. Fungus don't grow where it's dry. It has to be wet. And the water, it's wet, but only underground. And tomatoes really benefit from it, but just about any garden plant can. And if you go online, you can find Ollas bases, and they go from about $14 on up to about $30 to $40 for each one. And the size, whatever the diameter is, give or take on how the pot was made, because not all clay is created equal, it goes almost about half of what the diameter is. You know, like or what the diameter is. Like if you got a 7-inch pot, it's going to go out 7 inches. So the water will spread out even if there's not a plant absorbing it out of the pot. Well, I couldn't afford that many just to buy them outright, so I kept looking and found a place online that showed you had to make them out of terracotta pots, which I have. Terracotta pot. See the hole? But that works. Now you can get 2 of them, put one on bottom, one on top, and put glue around here and stick it together in silicone. Well, I didn't really care for that idea too much. Not safety of glue, and I'm sure silicone's fine because you use it in fish tanks. But another thing, my garden's not that deep. This is almost a foot tall. My garden is probably about from there to there. So I figured I'd get 1. Now, I got this at the 99-cent store for 99 cents. It's 7.5-inch diameter. It does have the hole. That's what you have to clog up. and I had to find something to put on top as a lid. Now, a lot of pots that you got by Home Depot, Walmart, whatever, local garden store, they'll have a lid that goes in the bottom of it to catch water, so when you're watering your plant, water don't get all over your table or floor. But at a 99-cent store, it don't come with that. It's just a pot. So I looked around and found a plate. Just a small plate, not the big dinner plate that you eat your meal on, but the little ones, you know, single serving. And it fits right on top, like so. And what I'll do is I'll put a rock, because I live in Rock Valley, hence the garden raised bed. So finding rocks in my yard is no problem. So how do we seal the hole? Oh, I've looked at several. Some put clay or putty in the bottom of the hole. One lady mixed up some concrete and filled the bottom up with about a 1/4 inch of concrete. That I'll probably do next year. I've already got 2 out in the garden, and I can definitely tell the difference from the side that has it from the side that doesn't. We'll do a tour and I'll show you my garden on the tomatoes. You can definitely see what size or what side has the Ollas and what side doesn't have the Ollas. And so I decided to go with the clay. You can get that little modern clay at Walmart for 94 cents for a little pack. See? I've done 3 already, and that's how much clay I still have left. So it's enough to do that one and probably 2 more. And what I did is, you know how stores put stickers on stuff, merchandise that they buy? Well, I left the sticker on. That's what the white you see. Then I put box tape over it. I know it looks like it won't hold. Hello, dragonfly. Right on the camera. Wow. I wish you guys could see this. A dragonfly just landed on my camera. Cool. Anyhow, but I put tape over there, and I've already got 2 in the garden. They've been there for over a month and a half, and they're still there. They're still holding water. They slowly seep out. I have to fill them up maybe once every 3 days, depending on how hot. Now, when it was in the triple digits, like it's pretty close to that today, it's in the 90s. But when it was in the hundreds, it was every 2 days I had to fill it up, because you don't really want them to get too low very often because of the calcium deposits that will, you know, the hard water or whatever, it'll start clogging it up and you have to take it out and clean it. So let's get some of our clay. This video gets too long, we'll do a 2-parter, because I don't want to bore you to death. Been trying to make this video for 5 days between the rain, chores, everything else. I'm just kind of smashing it up and getting a nice little ball. I wonder where my little dragonfly friend went. Alright, ball. Hole. Put my hand on it just in case I don't smash too hard. Done. It holds water, I promise. At least mine do. There are all kinds of sirens in today. Alrighty. We'll get our rock and we'll go over there and bury it. But first, let's do a tour of the garden, because I promised. Alright, see, I stopped it so y'all didn't have to get so seasick with the camera moving. You see how tall my corn is? It's taller than I am. My potatoes don't look that great, but that's because they're almost ready to harvest. This is Texas, and I had the early potatoes, and it only takes about 70 days. Alright, let's see if I can back up. That'll be a video I'll do this weekend. Those tallest ones are really coming from the left. They're just so tall, they keep going on, and I kind of timed that. And they're looking pretty good today. The other day you could actually see the left side was taller than the right, and it still kind of is. Here. See, that's the left side. They're the ones with the Olla. You see it in there? See all my tomatoes. Oh, how I love tomatoes. Now this gap that you see in the middle with this one tomato plant that's dying is because something got in there and broke it. I mean, I've already removed one. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a possum or a squirrel or a rabbit. Something got in there and broke it. But I started out with 16 tomato plants, and I'm the only one that eats tomatoes. So, it's okay. But you see, right here is the top of the right side, and you see where the top of the left side is. The Ollas definitely make a difference. I eventually will have them all through the garden. That's my Brussels sprout plant. I have 3 of them, but only one's doing really well. I did have to battle aphids. And that one cucumber plant keeps kind of shading it out, and my pepper plant. I keep moving the leaves, but they keep coming back. See that tomato plant right there? It's not doing too good. And then that one right there. Those were the 2 that were kind of broke. I tried to propagate one that part of it that had broke off, but it'll probably die. But it had tomatoes on it, so I was just trying to put it in dirt, hoping that it would get roots and regrow. There's my grapevine. I have like 4 banana pepper plants, but they're hard to see through all the zucchini and cucumbers. Next year I'm definitely planting them on the outside. My onions. And now we're back to the corn, which you can clearly see is taller than I am. See? Corn above my head. Hopefully that came out. Alright, well, I'm going to start digging these holes and getting ready to put those 2 pots in on this side. And if this video is way too long, then I'll probably do it as a part 2. But there you go. Alright, just give you a little visual on what it looks like. And I recommend do not use a shovel if your garden's already established. Use your hand, that way you don't break any roots. But I've got it in there, got the soil kind of packed around the pot, and I have filled it up. And see if I can grab this plate. Ooh, that sucker's hot from sitting in the sun. Alright. Alright, my plate's there. We'll come over to our, what I call our rock bed valley. See all that? I have plenty of rocks to choose from. And I choose you, Pikachu. These things, this 7.5-inch pot holds almost a gallon. And there you go. That's all there is to it. Alright, you notice I had to change shirts. The other one was dirty. And my hair is a hot mess because it's like 100 degrees out here. When I started it was 97, but now it's up to 100, and they say the real feel is 103, and oh, I believe them. Anyhow, that's what it looks like in the ground. You can use liquid fertilizers inside them too, but I would wait until you for sure that the plants are established to the pot, and you'll be able to tell, because instead of taking 4 or 5 days to become empty, it'll only take like 2. Definitely tell when it happens. I would use compost tea or like the fish emulsions, but anything that's water based, and I wouldn't use too much of it. And make sure you always keep that top on there so you're not breeding mosquitoes or frogs or something will get in there. Oh, one other thing, with this method you will save like 75% of your water bill. Reason being is you're not drenching the whole garden hoping your plant's getting enough water. It's in that pot and they'll suck out what they need. So that's always a plus, especially if you live in places like California or the desert or any place where there's water restriction or it don't rain a whole lot. or if you just want to go out for a few days and worry about your garden. They even have some you can find online that are a little smaller that have drip irrigation attached to them, and these here you can do the same way. Just turn it over, glue the pot to the lid, and use that little bitty hole at the top for your drip irrigation. I might end up doing that next year, who knows. We'll look into it. But anyway, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. I think it's going to end up being just a one video. I think it's short enough, not too long. But give me a thumbs up if you like it. Hit the subscribe button wherever it may be in the corner, because every little bit helps. Don't forget to go check out my blog, gardenforcheap.com. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that jazz. Pinterest, I'm there too. Got the share buttons in the comments below. But anyhow, have a good one. God bless and peace. Happy gardening.